What's going on, guys? BladeZilla here, and today we're taking a look at this super cool, actually pretty rare production offering from Shirogorov. So up until now, you know, the F95NL Gen 5s have been available in a number of configurations, from kind of purple and some coppers and black, and what else have we done? I think some olives, anyway, a couple other colors, maybe some reds, and until now, none of them have glowed in the dark or come with a really cool kind of pumpkin bead. So really excited to launch this one on the site. In fact, I literally just took pictures of this guy, put it up with another knife, and excited to talk about it. So guys, check out the website, bladezilla.ca, which is in Canada, ready to ship. And as we have here, there it is, fresh off pictures about 30 seconds ago. So Shirogorov F95NL Gen 5 Halloween Special Edition, pretty cool. That's in Canada, ready to go. No duty when you bring that, when you ship that in Canada. So pretty excited about that. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're not here to talk about shipping and stuff. We're here to just talk about this gorgeous M390 F95NL, which is pretty sick. So let's get started on it. Let's get some measurements. And this bead is going to be my bane, I can tell you today, just based on how it wants to fold under the knife, which is always fun. Let's get some measurements on this guy. So we are coming in at, let's see here, 8 3/4 roughly overall length. Blade length of about just under 4 inches, just a hair under 4 inches. 95 mil, that's where the F95 comes from. And then, where are we at on the handle here? 4 3/4, 4 7/8, depending on which I am looking with, which is cool. We'll get some weights on it as well. And I actually haven't read the spec sheet on what this was weighing in at, even though I just kind of copied it up. I didn't actually pay attention to what it weighs, but I assume it's no different than all the others. Well, I guess plus the bead, so it will be a little bit heavier, a little over 4 ounces. Okay, focus. Okay, make sure it's all on there, 4.7. And once again, make sure 4.7 ounces. So that's about right for that. You know, 4-inch blade, well, less than 4-inch blade on paper. You know, 4.7 ounces, certainly reasonable. And I guess, where do we even start with this guy? Well, for starters, I've done a number of videos on the F95NLs. NL meaning inlay. It's a little play on words there, but inlay. So they do have the F95 which is identical to this knife in every way without an inlay. And but you know, it's a little more casual, little more understated, and more, you know, easygoing kind of thing. You put it in your pocket, and I don't think it looks like a $1,200 knife because it's just a titanium M390, nice and simple. You know, the old saying, KISS, keep it simple, stupid type knife. Whereas these inlays, they're a little sexier, they're a little louder, they're a little more personalized, and also much more desirable, I'd say. Because you can kind of do those things for your own collection, right? If you like glow in the dark, if you like gold, black, whatever, you can kind of tailor it that way. Another thing, so on the inlays, as you can see, hopefully you can see, it does not sit perfectly flush with the knife. And maybe it's easier to show from this side. So it does not sit perfectly flush. So what that means, that's intentional. It means when you hold this in your hand, it kind of has a little concave feel to it and a ramp up, so that it really fits your hand a little different than the Zero. Otherwise, so it's the same dimensionally, it just fits your hand a little tiny bit thicker, and it is noticeable when you have them side by side. So just keep that in mind. As for this one, obviously I mentioned it does glow in the dark, and that's what's very unique. I know last year we had a bunch of the, what were they called? I think they were Hattie Halloweens. So the front scale in its entirety glowed in the dark, which is cool. Also in that same kind of red-black color. Which I guess there's a little orange in there, but it's more red, I'd say, than orange. Oh my god, look at the way the lights is hitting on that right now. Just changing it. This is what I'm talking about when you get one of these in your hand. And it's what makes them so beautiful and so unique and so special. Every single one is different on that inlay. And you just don't get tired of it. But as I was kind of getting at, that does glow in the dark apparently. Much like that Halloween edition last year. I've got another stack of these that are going to be hitting the market. Well, they just went up, so they're on the site right now. And I'm thinking I might keep one of these guys, probably this guy, just because, you know what, like, I love the F95NLs, and I keep kicking myself. There were some CCKS ones that came out that were really cool, and I just thought that color configuration was one of the hottest ones, and unfortunately, they all sold really quickly. And I don't see the Halloween ones sitting too long because there's only 50 of them ever made in the world. And that's pretty special, right? So the collectors tend to like them. Not always just because of the knife itself, but because of these beads. As you know, Shirogorov makes some custom beads. And that's what people love. It's that Shirogorov bead. And this would be, you know, probably $100 to $150 extra if you were to buy a bead itself with that cool knot as well. I wish I'd learned how to tie one of those. But that bead is super, super slick. The back side is their kind of Shirogorov normal bit, I guess you could say. But the front side is what makes this knife so special and so cool and unique and desirable. Not too many of those out there. And each one of these knives comes with that bead, which is awesome. It is, from beyond that point, it is an F95NL flipper, so super smooth action, M390, multi-row bearings. Everything that you've come to love about Shirogorov is basically found in this design. Captive pivot system. Geez, there's a lot going on here. In hand, I've got an extra large glove, and I've got lots of room. If I've got a sixth finger, I could certainly wear a glove on this, no problem. We've talked about this in the past. They've moved the Shirogorov Bear. It was kind of up on the blade up here, and they've moved it down to the corner here, which is a very, very nice choice, and I've talked about this in a number of videos, but I just love having that bear on the handle because it's not in the cutting path. As you can see, we've got two different sized Shirogorov bits, aka flatheads. Yes, you can use a flathead screwdriver on that, and you'll probably mar up and destroy the knife. I suggest getting a tool, which fits perfectly in there, and you're not going to have any issues, but in the event you don't have that, a penny would work as well, because you don't want, you want a material that's a little softer, I guess, and the copper is a little softer. So you'll mar up the copper before you hurt the titanium parts. But you have two sizes here, and then you'll have one more, which is actually on the inside, underneath that clip. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but there is another screw that comes up inside and attaches internally, and it just gives it that nice blank look on this side. Let's take a peek underneath the hood here with my little light. Lots of skeletonization on this one, which is pretty normal. These guys are, in a lot of cases, are more gorgeous and beautiful on the inside than the outside. Just from a pure milling and complexity perspective, they're gorgeous and always enjoyable to open up and look at and service your Shirogorov. The backspacer should be floating as well. You should be able to see that gap, which is very hard to see if it was otherwise. But look at that. How cool is that, eh? Just a little space on each side. Oh, the details of the Shiros are just next level. And seemingly never get old. They really don't. We do have this also geared backspacer, which is very similar to the jimping on the blade. I love when they match the two. Always looks really killer and sharp. But I'm going to close this so I don't cut myself, honestly. That's what's going to end up happening. Anyway, really nice backspacer, milled, gorgeous, lots of texture and pattern, but overall just matches the overall fit and finish of the entire knife. Nothing too loud on this one other than that glow in the dark. The milling on these F95NLs are gorgeous, and as you can see, hopefully above the pivot, usually it's the top and the bottom. Much like on the Hattie, they actually keep that same pattern on the carbon, But the milling there is just next level, and it's something that you truly have to see to believe in person, because it's just stunning. From a production perspective, you know, Shiro's, in my opinion, doing it the best, because you're getting all these different fits and finishes throughout the knife, which just adds so much more to it as you fidget with it. It is a multi-row bearing knife, as I mentioned earlier, and multi-row bearings means there's 3 bearings in a row around a circle instead of the standard kind of balls in a circle like that. It'll be kind of 3 in a row, like 1, 2, 3 in a pinwheel pattern, and that adds kind of side-to-side rigidity to the blade interface between the handle and the blade. And I guess on top of that, adds to just ridiculously smooth drop shuttiness that's just super controlled and very unique to Shirogorov. Just gorgeous. You know, you can park it, you know, that's about as deep as you're going to be able to get on a Shiro. For reference, that's sitting like that. And, you know, it can just sit, but with a little flick, you know, it moves and drops. It's just truly so beautiful. And they do break in, obviously, over time. They take time. I've heard they're coming now with almost like an oily wax instead of just plain oil. I've seen a lot of people take them apart and literally just clean the bearings with rubbing alcohol and just use them dry. And apparently they're very, very smooth and good that way. My CCKS Hattie that I have here, I think right now is running without any oil in it. And I'll just show you what that's like. But once again, Hattie means, well, I don't know what it means, but it's basically an F95 with a front scale. It's carbon. Otherwise, it's the same knife. And this one is obviously broken in, but no oil on it. Pretty cool. Really cool knife. In terms of where this guy fits in the Shirogorov lineup, let's grab a couple knives and kind of make our way from top to bottom here, or bottom to top. Started from the bottom, now we're here, as they say. My Stellar, still don't know where I put it, but it's somewhere in a glove box or a car. So we're going to use this, which is a Kami, or Kami, whatever you want to call it. Same size as a Stellar, essentially. Then we have a Neon, which is the smaller guy. Or as Kevin says, small boy. And, you know, that's a really popular knife. I've got a ton of those neon lights right now. This is a Neon Zero modified by Walter Randolph, by the way. Just in case you're new to the channel, it's my personal neon that I use for a lot of comparisons. But it's a Neon Zero, which is a multi-row bearing M390 version of the Neon. And I've got some Thai neon lights right now on the site, which are just gorgeous, which is the same knife, just without the holes in it, obviously. From that modification, and without M390, it's just Chromax. I've been carrying a neon light now for a while, and it's a gorgeous knife. Also on multi-row bearings. Kami, this guy's on multi-row bearings as well, but it is the different style of multi-row bearings, which there's a video I've done on this if you want to watch that. Just search KAMI on the channel, and that knife will come up. And what's the beauty about this, it's so cool, is take a look at the blade grind on this. Right? See how we've got a big deep cut there? And I flip it on the other side and it's shallow. So it's an asymmetrical blade grind, which makes that knife pretty special and highly desirable. Also limited. F95NL, back on track. Jeez, I keep going off track. This is like literally the story of my life. Really cool blade, obviously, M390. You got that nice jimping up top, really comfortable in hand, no issues. And then if we look at the top-down profile of the blade, you can see it's flat along the top all the way to the tip. Right, so you can, in theory, choke up right to the end of that thing, and then it expands or swells out to kind of give some support to that tip. So that's pretty cool. Very similar grind as well with that little nose that's kind of just poked down as the Neon, I believe. Let me just double check that. I thought the Neon had the same profile on the tip. Yes, they do. So there you go, that little nose on it. Pretty cool on the drop point. Some other cool features, obviously. I always show this on the Hattie, but on the F95 it is no different. So take a look at the lock bar, that nice, beautiful bevel that's cut into it, and how when I roll this, it's raised, right? So your thumb finds it super easy, really comfortable, and then even if you look in closer and closer and closer, I don't know if 4K is going to show it or not, it is all milled in there, and it's just stunning. And the more you look at it, the more you appreciate it. We obviously have a lock bar insert, which I'm assuming is tool steel, and that is used as a buffer between whatever blade you have in the titanium frame to prevent lockup, right? And we have an over travel stop, which you can see is attached here, and it will hang down much like a molar in a tooth, and you're just preventing the factory bend of that lock bar from going the other direction and loosening up over time. Pretty simple. The clip and the rest of the frame on this side obviously has Shirogorov's patented, well, not patented, but to me patented, their milling that they're known for. Gorgeous horizontal milling. And I love how it like goes around the clip, right? Little details like that, or inside the bend. You've got all that beautiful milling taking place. And then the details on this F95, you know, the hardware, right? Like look how they expand the design around the hardware to provide support. You know, it's just thought out, well-made knives that last for years and years. That's what Shirogorov is. And if you're new to the channel, you know, Shirogorov is literally what started BladeZilla for me. It was knives that were so difficult to get in Canada, and just my favorite. After having cases of knives, they were just my favorite. And they still are. They really are. We have obviously a lot of really cool knives that come through, but to me, nothing beats a high-end production Shirogorov. Well, we can talk about that. That's debatable once you go into the custom division Shiros and the full customs. That's a whole other tier. But in terms of their high-end production knives, they're just done so well. And they're built to last a lifetime. Some of my favorite all-around designs. You know, a 4-inch blade in hand. This knife feels like it's got a 3.5-inch blade from the handle size. And it's things like look how that blade is just tucked in there with such little tolerance all the way around. You know, dead center, which is a natural for Shiro, but just everything about the design is designed around putting a 4-inch, well, sub 4-inch blade inside this handle, and having it, you know, every inch, every millimeter maximized so that it just fits so nicely in your hand, ergonomically, as well as just not taking up any pocket space. Gorgeous, gorgeous knives. And the flipper as well, I should show this. I'll grab my, which one should we use today? Let's grab my Monkey Edge. So versus a Quantum, if we're looking at that. Really great knife as well. This one's on single row bearings, but it's internally skeletonized. It doesn't have the big fancy pivot as well, but overall, beautiful knife. Take a look at the flipper tab on this and compare to the F95. So flipper tab, right, just above center, right, forward of center, but it's built into the frame, right? That's the Quantum design. Keep that in mind. Flipper tab built in, so when you reach to the front of the knife, you're basically finding flipper no matter what, because you can't miss it. The F95, it's not built into the tip, but it's still very similar, right? It's forward of center on the flipper. And where that matters is certain knives are behind center, and it leads to a more slow deployment. Right? Where's my... Do I have that still in my case here? Where is it? I thought I had a Dr. Death still in this case. There we go. So if we look at this Shirogorov Dr. Death, Thai Dr. Death, look how far back the flipper is from the center. So when you pull that, it's like a big gear on a bicycle. It slows things down, right? So on this, you can fail it, right? Because they're like, oh, the detent's light, or the detent's too tough. It's like, no, it's all about leverage. You just get used to it, and then it's not a problem. On the F95s, you know, it's more forward of center, so it's a rock solid deployment. I don't think you can fail this one. I'll try to go as light as possible. Basically, yeah, it's basically locked. Like, you can, I guess. yeah, that's as light of a deployment as I can do on this knife, and that action obviously smooths up over time. But it's a forward of center flipper, and it hammers out every time. And the jimping on it is quite comfortable as well. And if you know anything about the Shiro world, you know it's their large Sebenza. It's their tried and true design, and it's been around forever. And I should also say the Neon follows this design as well. It doesn't follow the Quantum flipper tab, which should tell you something, right? So the Neon also has the flipper tab with a little gap in front of it, so it's easy to find. Pretty cool. Love this stuff. I could do this all day. Could talk knives all day. Okay, well, what have I missed here, guys? I've talked about the captive pivot. I've talked about the cool milling, the thinner blade stock. I think I mentioned that. If I grab that Hattie, that should be evident. That Hattie is the old version of it. Which, is it the same? Or maybe this one does have thinner blade. I always thought that they thinned this design up. I'd have to kind of go into the vault to take a look at some other knives, but I thought they were always this thick. Yeah. Anyway, as far as I know, I thought they thinned this guy out by 1/2 mil. From what I remember doing multiple videos on it, I thought they kind of, yeah, the Zero was 4 mil. That's right. This is, I think, 3.5, maybe 3. Thinner blade. Obviously, when you thin the blade, you tighten the tolerances of the entire knife together, which is pretty cool. As a percentage, right, you're increasing those gaps are increasing percentage-wise. If that makes sense. The tolerance requirement, which is pretty sick. M390 to me is the gold standard right now, and nothing really beats M390 when it comes to kind of field serviceability, edge retention, and I guess the stainless factor. Yes, there's an argument for MagnaCut, but I'll wait 5 years to see if MagnaCut's still a big thing or not, because, you know, I've had some friends of mine that have carried M390 blades and have gone to carry some MagnaCut blades, and they've gone back to M390. So could have been a heat treat thing, not sure on the MagnaCut, but they just say they're getting better life out of M390, which is crazy, and they're easier to sharpen apparently too. So yeah, food for thought. This guy as well, on that carbon that's kind of inlaid, you kind of get these like really micro milling that looks almost like a fingerprint on top of it. Just another gorgeous level of detail that's not found on all the other Shiros or all the other production knives. It's just so gorgeous, and this is the knife you guys got to see in hand. You know, it's the details, the thought of the inlay that goes underneath the pocket clip versus cutting it off there so it doesn't peel the thing up. Just well thought out, well designed, well engineered, and well executed. And then on top of that, you get a cool pumpkin bead. How sick is that, guys? Alright, well, if we're talking about pumpkin beads, I think that probably is my limit of to where, you know, I can continue talking about this knife without sounding like an idiot. But that probably started right around the 30-second mark. Gorgeous knife, beautiful detail, limited edition, 1 of 50. I've got a handful of them here to get out, which, who knows, usually they go pretty quick in the first week or so. So get them while they're hot, because they're going to be collectible, and that bead, people are going to be paying a lot of money for that, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to stop you guys there, I think. Have yourself a great week. And if you have any questions, leave them below. Obviously, throw a like on the video. It really helps the channel. Follow me, TikTok, Instagram. I just created a Facebook page under BladeZilla.ca as well. So if you want to follow me there. I've only got like 20 people, I think, right now. So it'd be great to expand that and, you know, just support the cause. All right, guys. Appreciate you. And appreciate you checking out the F95NL Halloween knife in 2024. If you're watching this later in the years to follow, this is a 2024 fall launch for Halloween. All right, guys, have yourself a great week, and we'll talk soon. Peace.